Child, tell us why you have come to the castle gates. We mean you no harm.
My lord, they took everything. My family needs your help. You are the only one who can stop them.
The conference room fell silent as Marcus Chun, tech billionaire and heir to the Chun Corporation empire, made his announcement. Every executive's daughter in Silicon Valley had tried to catch his eye, yet his decision shocked everyone. "I choose her," Marcus said firmly, pointing to a photograph on the screen. The girl from the Martinez household. Gasps filled the room. Not the glamorous socialites. Not the influencers. Not the business heiresses. Elena, the orphan, the forgotten one. How did a billionaire discover a girl hidden in plain sight? And why did he choose her above everyone else? This is their story. If you're enjoying Elena and Marcus's story, please hit the like button and subscribe for the next chapter. Drop a comment below telling me what you think will happen next. Will Marcus take over the company? Will Elena's situation improve? Find out in chapter. The Tesla Model S glided silently through the streets of Riverside, California. Marcus Chun sat in the back seat, his eyes fixed on the window, but seeing nothing. The palm trees and boutique shops of his hometown blurred past him. His mind was thousands of miles away, replaying the moment everything changed. 3 days ago, he'd been in his San Francisco penthouse, reviewing quarterly reports from Chun Corporation. His phone had buzzed. Mom calling. He'd answered with a smile. "Marcus, my son." Her voice had cracked. He'd immediately set down his tablet. "Mom? What's wrong?" The words that followed had shattered his world. "Your father, he's gone." The phone had slipped from Marcus's hand. James Chun, tech visionary, loving father, had suffered a massive heart attack. By the time the ambulance arrived, it was too late. Now, as the car pulled into the Chun estate, Marcus took a deep breath. The gates opened to reveal a sprawling modern mansion, all glass and steel, overlooking the valley. Staff members lined the driveway, their faces somber. His mother, Diana Chun, emerged from the entrance. Despite her designer black dress and perfect composure, her eyes told the story of sleepless nights and endless tears. "Marcus!" She embraced him tightly. "I'm here, Mom. I came as fast as I could." Inside, the house felt different. The innovative smart home his father had designed now felt empty, despite being filled with morning guests. Business partners, board members, and old friends gathered in small groups, speaking in hushed tones. An older man in an expensive suit approached Marcus. "Mr. Chun, the board stands ready to support you through this transition." Marcus nodded mechanically. "Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez." The memorial service lasted 3 hours. Marcus stood beside his mother, accepting condolences from what felt like half of California's tech industry. Every handshake reminded him of the weight now resting on his shoulders. That same afternoon, across town in a modest Riverside neighborhood, a young woman stepped out of a house carrying cleaning supplies. Elena Martinez moved quietly, her movements efficient despite the exhaustion in her eyes. She lived with her uncle, Victor Martinez, a successful real estate developer, along with his wife Patricia and their 2 daughters, Sophia and Isabella. On paper, they were family. In reality, Elena was treated more like hired help. "Elena," Patricia's sharp voice cut through the air. "Make sure you clean the guest bathroom properly this time. We have important clients coming." "Yes, Aunt Patricia." Elena's voice was soft, respectful. Sophia laughed from the doorway. "Look at her, born to serve." Isabella added with a smirk, "Don't forget to water the plants. And the driveway needs washing." They walked away laughing, their designer heels clicking on the marble floor. Elena stood still for a moment, then continued with her tasks. She'd learned long ago that arguing only made things worse. Better to stay quiet, complete the work, and find small moments of peace where she could. An elderly neighbor watering her garden called out, "Good morning, dear." Elena managed a genuine smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Chun. You work so hard. I pray better days find you soon." "Thank you. That means a lot." As Elena walked toward the supply closet, her mind drifted to her parents. Her mother had died giving birth to her. Her father, Rafael Martinez, had raised her alone, pouring all his love and energy into their small landscaping business. But the stress had been too much. Years of 14-hour days and the grief of losing his wife had worn him down. One morning, he simply didn't wake up. Heart failure, the doctor said. Uncle Victor had immediately claimed the landscaping business, selling it within weeks. Then he'd brought Elena into his home. Your family, he'd said initially, will take care of you. But the kindness hadn't lasted. Soon came the endless chores, then the insults, then the realization that she was less a niece and more an unpaid servant. Elena pushed the memories aside and focused on her work. Survival meant staying quiet, staying useful, and hoping that someday, somehow, things might change. She had no idea that change was already in motion. Miles away, in the Chun estate, Marcus sat alone in his father's study, surrounded by innovations and dreams made real. The weight of the empire pressed down on him, along with a question he couldn't answer. What I do now? 2 weeks had passed since the memorial service, but the Chun mansion still felt heavy with grief. Marcus wandered through the corridors, touching objects that reminded him of his father. The vintage tech collection, the awards lining the walls, the photographs of product launches that had changed the world. He found himself in his father's private office most evenings, sitting in the leather chair where James Chun had built an empire. That night, his mother knocked softly before entering. Marcus, we need to talk. He looked up from the desk. What is it, Mom? Diana sat across from him, her expression serious. The board meeting is tomorrow. They'll expect an answer about the CEO position. Marcus leaned back. I know. The company needs leadership. Your father built Chin Corporation from nothing. Now it's worth $30 billion. The board won't wait forever. Mom, I have my own startup in San Francisco. I have investors, employees depending on me. This wasn't the plan. Diana's eyes softened. Plans change, son. Your father didn't plan to leave us so soon either. The words hit hard. Marcus stood and walked to the window, looking out over the illuminated valley below. What if I'm not ready? What if I can't fill his shoes? His mother joined him at the window. Nobody's asking you to be your father. They're asking you to be you. But as a Chun, you have responsibilities to the company, to the employees, to the legacy. Marcus closed his eyes. I need time to think. You have until tomorrow's board meeting. She kissed his forehead gently. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. After she left, Marcus remained at the window for hours, wrestling with the decision that would define his future. Across town, Elena's night was far different. She knelt in the kitchen, scrubbing the tile floor by hand. The rest of the Martinez family had finished dinner hours ago, leaving their plates and mess for her to clean. From the living room, she could hear Sophia and Isabella laughing while watching their favorite reality show. Elena, Sophia called out, bring us sparkling water, with ice and lime. And make sure the glasses are the crystal ones, Isabella added. We're practicing for when we marry rich. Elena stood, her knees aching, and prepared their drinks. As she brought them out on a silver tray, the sisters barely acknowledged her. Finally, Sophia said, not looking up from her phone. Elena returned to the kitchen and resumed scrubbing. Once she finished, she still had laundry to fold, tomorrow's breakfast to prep, and the pool area to clean. It was past midnight when she finally finished. Exhausted, she retreated to the small room at the back of the house, barely larger than a closet, with a narrow bed and a single window. She sat on the bed and looked out at the stars. How long, God? She whispered. How long will this be my life? The next morning, the Chin Corporation boardroom buzzed with anticipation. 12 board members sat around an enormous glass table, tablets and coffee cups before them. Marcus entered, wearing a tailored navy suit. Every eye turned to him. Good morning, everyone, he said, taking his seat at the head of the table. Board Chairman Rodriguez cleared his throat. Marcus, we've given you time to grieve, but the company needs direction. We need to know, will you take your father's place as CEO? The room fell silent. Marcus looked at each face around the table. These people had trusted his father. They'd helped build something remarkable. He thought of his San Francisco life, the freedom, the startup culture, the independence. Then he thought of his father's last words to him, spoken over a video call just days before the heart attack. Always remember, son, true success isn't just about building something new. Sometimes it's about honoring what came before. Marcus took a deep breath. Yes, he said firmly. I'll do it. I'll become CEO of Chun Corporation. Relief washed over several faces. Rodriguez smiled. Excellent decision. But there's one more requirement. According to company bylaws established by your grandfather. Marcus frowned. What requirement? Another board member spoke up. The CEO of Chun Corporation must be married. It's tradition, stability, family values, succession planning. Your grandfather believed a married CEO made better long-term decisions. Marcus's jaw dropped. You're joking. It's in the corporate charter, Rodriguez said apologetically. Your father was already married when he took over. But for you to officially assume the role, you need a spouse. Marcus stood abruptly. This is absurd. My relationship status has nothing to do with my ability to lead. We agree it's outdated, Rodriguez admitted. But changing the charter requires a unanimous shareholder vote. That could take months, maybe years. Marcus stared at them all, anger and disbelief warring inside him. I need time, he finally said. You have 60 days, Rodriguez replied gently. That's the grace period allowed for succession situations. Marcus left the boardroom in a daze. Married? To run his own family's company? The absurdity would have been funny if it weren't so frustrating. Marcus drove aimlessly through Riverside, his mind spinning. 60 days to get married or lose his position as CEO. The requirement was archaic, but fighting it could take years. Years the company didn't have. His phone kept buzzing. Friends, business associates, even distant relatives had somehow heard about the succession requirement. Several had already started suggesting potential matches. My daughter just graduated from Stanford Business School. I know a wonderful young woman, very accomplished. There's this influencer, very popular, great for the company image. Marcus silenced his phone and kept driving. He needed air. He needed space to think. He needed to escape the pressure crushing down on him. Without planning it, he found himself on the outskirts of town, pulling into the parking lot of Riverside Community Park. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the grass. Marcus got out and walked toward a small lake. Ducks floated peacefully. A few joggers passed by. Normal life, continuing as always, indifferent to his crisis. Then he saw her. A young woman stood at the lake's edge, feeding breadcrumbs to the ducks. But what caught his attention wasn't what she was doing, it was what she did next. A pregnant woman struggling with 2 grocery bags walked past, clearly exhausted. Without hesitation, the young woman abandoned the ducks and approached her. Excuse me, let me help you with those. Oh, thank you, dear. They're heavier than I expected. The young woman took both bags and walked with the pregnant woman to a nearby bench. She made sure the woman was comfortable, got her some water from a fountain, and even called the woman's husband to pick her up. Marcus watched the entire interaction from a distance, fascinated. When the pregnant woman's husband arrived, the young woman handed over the groceries with a warm smile and walked away before they could even offer a proper thank you. Marcus found himself following her at a distance, curious. She walked through the park with purpose, stopping occasionally to pick up trash others had left behind, dropping it into receptacles. Not because anyone was watching, she clearly thought no one was, but simply because it seemed to be who she was. When she finally sat on a bench, pulling out a worn paperback book, Marcus made his decision. He approached slowly. Excuse me, he said gently. Elena looked up, surprised. Recognition flickered in her eyes. Everyone in Riverside knew the Chun family. Mr. Chun, she said, standing quickly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, please sit, Marcus said with a disarming smile. I'm not here on business. I saw what you did for that woman. That was kind. Elena looked confused. It was nothing. She needed help. Most people would have walked past. Elena shrugged. I don't think kindness should be rare. It should be normal. Marcus felt something shift inside him. May I sit? Of course. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. I'm Marcus, he said, extending his hand. I know who you are, Elena replied, shaking it. Everyone does. I'm Elena Martinez. Martinez, you live with Victor Martinez. Elena's expression flickered, just for a second, before she composed herself. Yes, he's my uncle. Marcus noticed the hesitation, but didn't push. Instead, he asked, What are you reading? Elena showed him the cover. Poetry. Maya Angelou. And Still I Rise. Marcus quoted, recognizing the collection. Elena's face brightened. You know it. My mother loves poetry. She used to read to me when I was young. Marcus smiled at the memory. Before the tech world consumed everything. They talked for nearly an hour. About books, about the park, about small things that somehow felt significant. Marcus found himself relaxing for the first time in weeks. Elena spoke with intelligence and grace, her words carefully chosen but genuine. As the sun began to set, Elena glanced at her phone and gasped. I'm so sorry, I have to go. I was supposed to be home an hour ago. Of course, Marcus said, standing. It was really nice talking to you, Elena. You too, Mr. Chun. Marcus. Please, call me Marcus. Elena smiled shyly. Marcus. As she hurried away, Marcus realized something. In their entire conversation, she hadn't mentioned his wealth once. Hadn't asked about the company. Hadn't tried to impress him or angle for anything. She'd just been herself. Meanwhile, Elena rushed home, her heart pounding. She'd just spent an hour talking to Marcus Chun. The Marcus Chun, and he'd been so normal, kind, real. When she arrived at the Martinez house, reality crashed back. Where have you been? Patricia demanded from the doorway. Dinner was supposed to be ready 30 minutes ago. Sophia and Isabella appeared behind their mother, arms crossed. Let me guess, Sophia sneered. Out daydreaming again? I'm sorry, Aunt Patricia, Elena said quickly. I'll start dinner right now. She rushed to the kitchen, her brief moment of peace already feeling like a distant dream. But as she chopped vegetables, she couldn't stop thinking about Marcus's smile. Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Elena. Over the next few days, he found himself returning to the park, hoping to see her again. She appeared twice more, always alone, always with that same quiet grace. Their conversations grew longer. They talked about everything, dreams, fears, childhood memories, favorite movies. Elena never pried into his wealth or status. She asked about him, about his father's passing, about how he was really doing. I'm sorry about your father, she said one evening as they walked along the lake. Losing a parent. I know how that feels. Your father? Marcus asked gently. Elena nodded. He passed when I was 17. Heart failure. He'd worked himself to exhaustion running our family's landscaping business. I'm sorry, Elena. Thank you. She paused. He was a good man. He taught me that kindness costs nothing but means everything. Marcus found himself drawn deeper into her world with every meeting. There was something authentic about Elena, something that felt like fresh air after years of breathing corporate smoke. One evening, as they said goodbye, Marcus made a decision. Elena, would you like to have coffee sometime? Like an actual date? Elena's eyes widened. A date? With you. If you want to. No pressure. A beautiful smile spread across her face. Yes, I'd like that. They met at a small cafe the next afternoon. Over lattes and pastries, their connection deepened. Marcus shared his struggle with the CEO position and the marriage requirement. That's absurd, Elena said. Your relationship status shouldn't determine your professional capabilities. Tell that to my grandfather's corporate charter, Marcus replied wryly. What will you do? Marcus looked at her seriously. I don't know yet, but I do know I'm tired of people seeing me as just the Chun heir. It's refreshing to talk to someone who sees me as just me. Elena's cheeks flushed. I do see you, Marcus. The real you. Their eyes met across the table, and something unspoken passed between them. Over the next 2 weeks, they saw each other almost daily. Marcus found reasons to be in Riverside. Elena found time between her endless chores to meet him. They were falling in love, though neither had said the words yet. But across town, darkness was brewing. Victor Martinez sat in his home office, reviewing financial documents. Business had been slow lately. Several real estate deals had fallen through. Money was tighter than he wanted to admit. His wife, Patricia, entered with news. Did you hear? The Chin boy is back in town permanently. He's taking over the company. Victor looked up with interest. Is that so? And there's a rumor, Patricia continued, lowering her voice. The board requires him to be married to assume the CEO position fully. Victor's mind began working. Married? What are you thinking? Patricia asked. We have two beautiful, educated daughters. If one of them could marry Marcus Chun. He let the implication hang. Patricia's eyes lit up. We'd be connected to the Chun fortune. Victor, this could solve all our problems. That evening, they called Sophia and Isabella into the office. Girls, Victor said, I have an opportunity for you. He explained the situation. Both daughters' faces brightened with excitement. Marcus Chun, Sophia squealed. He's gorgeous and rich. I saw him at the country club last month, Isabella added. Every woman there was staring. This is your chance, Patricia said. We need to get his attention. We need to make him see that one of you would be the perfect wife. Victor nodded. I'm going to invite him to dinner. Make him feel welcome. Give you girls time to work your charm. Over the next few days, Victor arranged the invitation through business channels. Marcus, trying to understand the community his company served, agreed to visit. The night of the dinner, the Martinez household was transformed. Patricia had hired caterers. Sophia and Isabella wore designer dresses. Everything was perfect, except for one problem, Elena. We can't have her here, Sophia hissed, looking pathetic and poor. She'll ruin everything. Lock her in her room, Isabella suggested. Tell Marcus she's not home if he asks. Patricia considered this. Actually, maybe she should serve. Show Marcus we're generous people who took in a poor orphan. It might make us look good. Victor agreed. Yes, Elena will serve dinner. But keep her quiet. I don't want her ruining this opportunity. When Marcus arrived that evening, the entire Martinez family greeted him with exaggerated warmth. The house was immaculate. The dinner spread was impressive. Mr. Chun, we're so honored, Victor said, shaking his hand vigorously. Sophia and Isabella stood nearby in their finest clothes, smiling sweetly. Marcus was polite but slightly uncomfortable. Something about the setup felt orchestrated. Then he saw her. Elena emerged from the kitchen carrying a tray of appetizers. Their eyes met across the room. Elena's face showed surprise and confusion. Marcus's showed recognition and concern. Elena, he said. The entire Martinez family froze. The Martinez living room fell into uncomfortable silence. Victor recovered first, his smile never wavering despite the shock in his eyes. You know Elena? Victor asked carefully. Yes, Marcus said, walking toward her. We've met several times. Elena, what are you doing here? Before Elena could answer, Patricia jumped in smoothly. Oh, Marcus, Elena lives with us. We took her in after her father passed. Such a tragedy. We consider her family. Marcus noticed how Elena's eyes dropped to the floor. He noticed the tray in her hands, the simple clothes she wore compared to Sophia and Isabella's designer dresses, the way she stood apart from the others. Family, Marcus repeated slowly, his business instincts telling him there was more to this story. Yes, Victor said quickly. We've given her a home, food, everything she needs. She helps around the house sometimes. Don't you, Elena? Yes, Uncle Victor, Elena said quietly. Marcus wanted to pull her aside, to ask what was really happening, but the situation was delicate. He was a guest in this house. Please sit. Patricia gestured to the dining table. Elena, serve the wine. Throughout dinner, Marcus watched carefully. Elena moved around the table like staff, not family. Sophia and Isabella ignored her completely except to make small requests. Elena, more water. Elena, clear these plates. The Martinez parents dominated the conversation, talking about their successful real estate business, their daughter's accomplishments, their connections in Riverside society. Sophia just completed her marketing degree, Patricia said proudly. She has such creative vision. And Isabella has been training in classical piano since she was 6, Victor added. She performs at all the best events. Both daughters smiled demurely, playing their roles perfectly. Marcus nodded politely, but found his attention drifting to Elena, who moved silently through the room, practically invisible to her own family. After dinner, Victor suggested they sit in the garden for drinks. As they moved outside, Marcus deliberately lingered behind. He found Elena in the kitchen, washing dishes. Elena, he said softly. She jumped, nearly dropping a plate. Marcus. Mr. Chun, Just Marcus, he said, moving closer. Are you okay? This doesn't seem like... they said your family, but... I'm fine. Elena said quickly, too quickly. Really? I should finish these dishes. Marcus gently touched her hand. Talk to me. The truth. Elena's eyes filled with tears she wouldn't let fall. Marcus, please. Don't make this harder. Just go enjoy your evening. Mr. Chun, Patricia's voice called from the garden. We're waiting for you. Marcus looked at Elena for a long moment, then nodded reluctantly. We'll talk later. I promise. He returned to the garden, where Sophia and Isabella had positioned themselves strategically on either side of the seat clearly meant for him. The rest of the evening was awkward. Both daughters tried to engage Marcus in conversation, laughing too loudly at his polite comments, touching his arm unnecessarily, competing for his attention. Marcus endured it all with practiced courtesy, but his mind was on Elena. When he finally left, Victor walked him to his car. Thank you for coming, Victor said. We'd love to have you back anytime. The girls really enjoyed your company. Thank you for the hospitality, Marcus replied neutrally. As he drove away, he watched in his rearview mirror as the Martinez family waved from their perfect house with their perfect smiles. Something was very wrong there. That night, after Marcus left, the mood in the Martinez house changed dramatically. Did you see how he looked at her? Sophia raged. At Elena. He barely looked at us, Isabella added bitterly. We wore our best dresses, we were charming, and he spent half the night staring at the help. Patricia paced angrily. This is a problem, a serious problem. Victor sat in his chair, thinking, we need to be smart about this. Marcus Chun is worth billions. We can't let a nobody like Elena ruin this opportunity. What do we do? Patricia asked. Victor's expression hardened. We make sure they don't see each other again. Starting tomorrow, Elena doesn't leave this house. We lock her in if we have to. What if Marcus asks about her? Sophia questioned. We'll say she went to visit relatives, Victor decided. She's not feeling well. Whatever sounds believable. Meanwhile, you two need to work harder. Find ways to run into Marcus around town. Make him notice you. The next morning, when Elena tried to leave for her usual walk, she found the front door locked from the outside. Aunt Patricia, she called. The door is locked. Patricia appeared with a cold smile. You're not going anywhere today, Elena. You have too much work to do. The house needs deep cleaning. But did I stutter? Patricia's voice turned sharp. Get to work. Elena's heart sank. They were punishing her for Marcus's attention. Over the next 3 days, Elena was kept virtual prisoner. Every door was locked. Her phone was confiscated. She was given endless tasks that kept her busy from dawn until midnight. Meanwhile, Sophia and Isabella accidentally ran into Marcus at the country club, at the coffee shop at the business district. But Marcus was looking for someone else. On the 4th day, he returned to the park where he'd first met Elena. She wasn't there. He waited for 2 hours. He went back the next day. Still nothing. Growing worried, he drove to the Martinez house. Victor answered with that same practiced smile. Marcus, what a pleasant surprise. Is Elena home? I'd like to speak with her. Victor's smile didn't waver. I'm afraid Elena isn't feeling well. She's been resting all week. Nothing serious, I hope. Just a cold. You know how it is. Marcus frowned. Could I at least say hello? She's sleeping right now, Patricia said, appearing beside her husband. We wouldn't want to disturb her. Something in their eyes told Marcus they were lying. Tell her I hope she feels better, Marcus said carefully. Of course, Victor replied. As Marcus drove away, his concern deepened into suspicion. Elena wasn't sick. She was being kept from him. But why? Marcus sat in his home office at the Chun estate, staring at his computer screen without really seeing it. A week had passed since he'd last seen Elena. Every attempt to contact her had been blocked by the Martinez family. He'd called. Victor said she was still unwell. He'd sent flowers. They were accepted at the door, but Elena never acknowledged them. He tried to wait outside the house. The gates remained closed, the family's cars coming and going, but never Elena. His mother knocked and entered. Marcus? You've been in here for hours. Is everything all right? Marcus turned to face her. Mom, I need to tell you something. Diana sat down, concern etched on her face. What is it? I met someone. A woman named Elena Martinez. Diana's eyebrows rose. Victor Martinez's niece? You know her. I know of her, Diana said carefully. I've heard whispers. That Victor took her in after her father died, but that the situation isn't ideal. Marcus leaned forward. What kind of whispers? That she's treated more like staff than family. That Victor sold her father's business and kept all the money. That his daughters are cruel to her. Diana paused. But these are just rumors. Why are you asking about her? Because I think I'm in love with her, Mom. Diana's expression softened. Tell me everything. Marcus shared the whole story. Their meetings at the park, their conversations, the connection he felt, and now her sudden disappearance. And you believe the Martinez family is keeping her from you? Diana asked. I know they are. I can feel it. Diana stood and walked to the window, thinking, Victor Martinez is ambitious. If he knows you're interested in Elena, and if he's treating her the way rumors suggest, he'd see her as a threat to his own daughter's chances with you. That's exactly what I think, Marcus said. But I can't prove anything. I can't force my way into their house. Diana turned back to him with a knowing smile. No, but I can help. Give me a day. True to her word, Diana made calls to her extensive social network. By the next afternoon, she had a plan. The board meeting, she told Marcus. It's in 3 days. All the key families will be there, including the Martinezes. Victor won't miss it. Too important for his business connections. And Marcus prompted, and you'll make your announcement there, in front of everyone. What announcement? Diana smiled. That you've chosen your future wife. But you have to be absolutely certain, Marcus. Once you say it publicly, there's no taking it back. The board will begin the formal process. Are you sure about Elena? Marcus didn't hesitate. I've never been more sure of anything. Then we have 3 days to prepare. Meanwhile, in the Martinez house, Elena sat in her small room, staring out the window. A week of confinement had taken its toll. She'd been given minimal food, endless work, and zero explanation. She'd heard snippets of conversation through the walls. Sophia and Isabella talking about running into Marcus. Patricia coaching them on what to say. Victor planning his next moves. They were trying to push her out of the picture completely. That night, Sophia and Isabella burst into her room without knocking. Still here. Sophia sneered. Thought you'd have run away by now. Where would I go? Elena asked quietly. Isabella laughed. Nowhere. You have nothing. You're nothing. And Marcus Chun is going to marry one of us. You'll see. I never tried to, Elena began. Shut up, Sophia snapped. You think we didn't see how he looked at you? But it doesn't matter. Father has a plan. You're staying locked in this house until Marcus forgets you exist. They left, slamming the door behind them. Elena lay on her bed and cried silently. She'd allowed herself to hope, to imagine a different life. Now that hope was being crushed. God, she whispered into the darkness. If there's any way out of this, please show me. The next morning, an invitation arrived at the Martinez house. The Chin Corporation board meeting. All major business families were invited to attend. Victor read it with growing excitement. This is it. This is where Marcus will announce his choice of wife. We need to make sure the girls look perfect. What about Elena? Patricia asked. Lock her door from the outside, Victor ordered. Post someone to watch. I don't want any surprises. On the day of the board meeting, Sophia and Isabella wore their most expensive dresses. Victor wore his finest suit. They arrived at Chun Corporation headquarters with confidence. The conference room was filled with Riverside's elite. Board members, investors, department heads, and their families. Marcus stood at the front with his mother, looking calm and professional in a charcoal suit. Victor positioned his daughters strategically where Marcus could see them. Both smiled their brightest smiles. The board chairman called the meeting to order. We're here today for several important announcements, he began. First, I'm pleased to officially welcome Marcus Chun as our new CEO. Applause filled the room. Second, as many of you know, our corporate charter requires the CEO to be married. Marcus has assured us he will fulfill this requirement. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Several parents glanced at their daughters hopefully. Marcus, the chairman said, would you like to address the room? Marcus stood and walked to the podium. His eyes scanned the crowd. landing briefly on the Martinez family. "Thank you all for being here," he began. "As you know, my father built this company on principles of innovation, integrity, and family values. I intend to honor that legacy." He paused, letting the moment build. "Regarding the marriage requirement, I want to announce that I have found someone extraordinary, someone who embodies kindness, strength, and grace." Victor sat forward eagerly. Sophia and Isabella straightened their postures. "Her name," Marcus continued, "is Elena Martinez." The room exploded in gasps and shocked murmurs. Victor's face went white. Sophia and Isabella looked like they'd been slapped. Patricia grabbed her husband's arm. "I know some of you may not know Elena," Marcus continued calmly. "She's been hidden away, kept out of sight. But I'm here to tell you that she is the woman I choose. She will be my wife." The chairman looked surprised but nodded. "This is unexpected, but if you're certain—" "I'm absolutely certain," Marcus said firmly. His eyes found Victor in the crowd. "I expect Elena to be brought to my office within the hour. She needs to be prepared for the formal announcement and the upcoming wedding ceremony." Victor stood shakily. "Mr. Chun, this is highly unusual. Is there a problem, Mr. Martinez?" Marcus asked coolly. "You do have Elena, don't you? You said she was family. Surely you wouldn't object to her happiness?" Every eye in the room turned to Victor. He was trapped. The conference room remained tense as Victor Martinez stood frozen, all eyes on him. His carefully constructed plan had just collapsed in spectacular fashion. Marcus maintained his calm, professional demeanor. "Mr. Martinez, I'm waiting for your response." Victor forced a smile that looked more like a grimace. "Of course, Mr. Chun. Elena will be delighted. This is wonderful news. We're honored." "Excellent," Marcus said. "I'll send security to escort her here immediately. Unless you'd prefer to bring her yourself?" "No," Victor said too quickly. Yes, I'll bring her. Give me 1 hour." Marcus nodded. 1 hour. "Thank you." As the meeting concluded, families filed out in shocked whispers. The Martinez family huddled together in the hallway. "What do we do?" Patricia hissed. "We can't let her." "We have no choice," Victor interrupted sharply. He made the announcement publicly. "If we refuse, we'll look terrible. Worse, we'll make an enemy of the most powerful family in the valley." Sophia's face was red with anger. "This is ridiculous. Elena? That nobody—" "Shut up," Victor snapped. "Both of you. We go home, we clean her up, and we bring her here. And we smile through the entire thing. Do you understand?" Both daughters nodded reluctantly. "And," Victor added darkly, "we make sure Elena understands that one wrong word to Marcus about how we've treated her, and there will be consequences." They drove home in furious silence. Meanwhile, Elena sat in her locked room, unaware that her entire life was about to change. She'd heard the family leave for the board meeting hours ago, heard them return just minutes ago, heard urgent, angry voices but couldn't make out the words. Suddenly, her door unlocked and flew open. Patricia stood there with a strange expression, anger mixed with forced civility. "Get up," she said. "You need a shower and get dressed. Now." Elena stood slowly, confused. "What's happening?" "You're going to Chun Corporation. Marcus Chun has announced that he wants to marry you." Elena's legs nearly gave out. "What? You heard me. Now move. We have 30 minutes. In a daze, Elena showered quickly. Patricia laid out one of Sophia's better dresses for her to wear. As Elena dressed, Sophia appeared in the doorway with Isabella. "Listen carefully," Sophia said in a low, threatening voice. "You're going to Marcus because we have no choice. But if you say one word, one single word, about how we've treated you, we'll make you regret it. Understand?" "Your uncle has connections," Isabella added. "Legal connections. We can make things very difficult for you. We can challenge your father's will, claim you owe us for years of housing and food." Elena's hands shook as she buttoned the dress. "I won't say anything. I promise." "Good," Sophia said. "Keep that pathetic, grateful attitude you always have. Make Marcus think we were wonderful to you." 20 minutes later, the Martinez family arrived at Chun Corporation with Elena in tow. Marcus was waiting in his office. When Elena walked in, escorted by her uncle's family, their eyes met across the room. Marcus saw immediately that something was wrong. Elena looked beautiful in the dress, but her eyes held fear, confusion, and exhaustion. "Thank you for bringing her," Marcus said formally. "You may leave us now." Victor hesitated. "Perhaps we should stay." "That won't be necessary," Marcus said firmly. "I need to speak with Elena privately." Victor had no choice. The family left, though Sophia shot Elena one last warning glare. Once the door closed, Marcus moved quickly to Elena's side. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Elena burst into tears. All the stress of the past week came pouring out. Marcus held her as she cried. "I'm sorry," she managed between sobs. "I don't understand what's happening. They said you announced, but why? How?" Marcus guided her to a chair and knelt beside her. "Elena, I've been looking for you for over a week. Your family kept saying you were sick, but I knew they were lying. They were keeping you from me. They locked me in my room," Elena admitted. "They were angry that you noticed me. They wanted you to choose Sophia or Isabella." Marcus's jaw clenched. "Tell me everything. The truth. How did they really treat you?" Elena hesitated, remembering the threats. But looking into Marcus's kind, concerned eyes, she couldn't lie. "They've treated me like a servant since my father died," she said quietly. "Uncle Victor took my father's business, sold it, and kept all the money. He said he was giving me a home, but really he just wanted free labor." "Do they hurt you?" "Sometimes. Mostly they just make me feel worthless, like I don't deserve anything better." Marcus stood, anger radiating from him. "That ends today. Right now." He picked up his office phone. "Diana, can you come to my office, please? And bring Julia from HR." Within minutes, his mother and an HR representative arrived. "Elena," Marcus said gently, "I want you to tell them everything you just told me. My mother can help arrange proper legal support. Julia can document everything for potential action." "But Marcus," Elena said nervously, "they said if I talk, they'll come after me legally. They said they can claim I owe them for housing and food." Diana, Chin's expression turned icy. "Let them try. I have the best attorneys in California." "Elena, dear, you owe those people nothing. They exploited you. That's called labor trafficking, and it's illegal." Over the next hour, Elena shared her story with Diana and Julia. Every detail, every instance of abuse, every threat. When she finished, Diana hugged her tightly. "You're safe now," Diana whispered. "We'll make sure of it." Julia looked at her notes. "This is more than enough for legal action if you choose to pursue it. At minimum, we can ensure they never bother you again." Marcus knelt beside Elena again. "I need to ask you something important, and I want you to know there's no pressure. You can say no." Elena wiped her eyes. "What is it?" "At that board meeting, I announced that I want to marry you. I did it to force your uncle's hand to get you out of that house." "But Elena," he took her hand gently. "I also did it because it's true. I love you. These past weeks, getting to know you have been the happiest of my life." Elena's breath caught. "I know this is fast," Marcus continued. "I know you've just escaped a terrible situation and you need time to heal. If you want to say no, I understand. We can find another way to handle the board requirement. But if you're willing to give us a chance." "Yes," Elena whispered. Marcus looked up, hope in his eyes. "Yes. Yes, Marcus. I love you too. I was afraid to hope, afraid to believe this could be real. But yes, I want to marry you." Marcus stood and pulled her into a gentle embrace. Diana and Julia discreetly left the room, giving them privacy. "You'll never be treated that way again," Marcus promised. "Never." "I know," Elena said softly. "I trust you." Outside the office, the Martinez family waited in their car, watching the building with growing dread. They'd lost. Completely. And they knew it. The next morning, Elena woke up in a bedroom at the Chun estate that was larger than the entire ground floor of the Martinez house. Soft morning light filtered through silk curtains. The bed was impossibly comfortable. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. A gentle knock came at the door. "Elena, may I come in?" It was Diana Chen's voice. "Yes, please." Diana entered carrying a breakfast tray. "I thought you might want to eat in peace this morning. You had quite a day yesterday." Elena sat up, still overwhelmed. "Mrs. Chun, you didn't have to. Please call me Diana. And I wanted to do this. She set the tray across Elena's lap. Fresh fruit, pastries, juice, coffee. Also, I wanted to talk about the next few weeks. Elena sipped the coffee gratefully. What happens now? Diana sat in a chair beside the bed. Well, there's a lot to prepare. The board requires Marcus to marry within 60 days, which gives us about 5 weeks. We need to plan a wedding, handle the legal paperwork, and... She paused gently. Help you heal from everything you've been through. I don't want a big wedding, Elena said quickly. I don't need anything fancy. Diana smiled warmly. It's not about what you need, dear. It's about what you deserve. But we'll keep it as simple or as elaborate as you want. This is your day. Over breakfast, they discussed plans. Diana had already arranged for a therapist to meet with Elena, someone who specialized in trauma and family abuse. She'd also set up accounts for Elena, given her access to resources, and ensured she'd never depend on anyone again. I don't know how to thank you, Elena said, tears forming. You don't need to thank me, Diana replied. You're going to be my daughter-in-law. More than that, you make my son happy. That's worth everything. Later that day, Marcus took Elena shopping. Not to his family's high-end usual spots, but to small boutiques Elena felt comfortable in. Pick whatever you want, Marcus said. Clothes, books, anything. Elena wandered through a bookstore, running her fingers along the spines. I haven't bought a new book in years. Buy as many as you want. Actually, Marcus pulled out his phone and made a call. 20 minutes later, store employees were packing up Elena's selections. Over 50 books. Marcus, Elena protested. This is too much. It's not nearly enough, he replied with a grin. You've been denied simple pleasures for too long. Let me make up for some of that. As they walked through the town, Elena noticed how people greeted Marcus with respect, but also genuine warmth. He stopped to talk with shop owners, asked about their families, remembered details from previous conversations. You really care about people, Elena observed. My father taught me that business success means nothing if you forget the people who make it possible, Marcus replied. Every employee, every customer, every member of the community, they all matter. It was another reason Elena loved him. That evening, they had dinner with Diana at the estate. The conversation flowed easily, filled with laughter and stories. You know, Diana said, I was worried when Marcus told me about the marriage requirement. I thought he'd choose someone for the wrong reasons. But seeing you two together, she smiled. This is real love. Anyone can see it. After dinner, Marcus and Elena walked through the estate gardens. Fairy lights twinkled in the trees. Are you happy? Marcus asked, holding her hand. Happier than I ever thought possible, Elena replied honestly. But also scared. Of what? That I'll wake up and this will all be a dream. That something will go wrong. That I don't deserve this. Marcus stopped walking and turned to face her. Elena Martinez, listen to me. You deserve every good thing life can offer. You've survived when others would have broken. You've stayed kind when others would have turned bitter. You're remarkable. Elena leaned into him. How did you see me when everyone else looked right past me? I don't know, Marcus admitted. Maybe because I was looking for something real in a world full of fake smiles and hidden agendas. Maybe because I needed someone who could see me for me, not for my name or wealth. Or maybe, he smiled, maybe it was just fate. I like that answer, Elena whispered. They kissed under the fairy lights, both of them feeling like their lives were finally beginning. Meanwhile, in a different part of Riverside, the Martinez family was falling apart. Victor's business associates had heard about Marcus's announcement. Several had called to distance themselves. 2 major deals had fallen through. At home, the atmosphere was poisonous. This is your fault, Patricia screamed at Victor. You and your stupid plan. My fault. Victor shot back. You're the one who suggested locking her up. Sophia and Isabella fought constantly, each blaming the other for not winning Marcus's attention. Their perfect family facade had crumbled, revealing the rot beneath. Victor sat alone in his office one night, looking at photos from years ago, including one of Elena's father, Raphael, his own brother. Raphael had been the kind one, the gentle one. Everyone had loved him. When he died, Victor had taken everything, justified it by thinking Elena should be grateful for a home. Now he saw the truth. He'd become exactly what he'd always feared, a man who put money above family, ambition above love. His phone rang. It was his lawyer. "Victor, we need to talk. Diana Chin's legal team has filed paperwork regarding Elena's inheritance. They're claiming you illegally seized your brother's assets and exploited his daughter. If this goes to court..." Victor hung up. He knew where this was headed. He lost everything, and he had no one to blame but himself. Back at the Chun estate, Elena was learning what real family felt like. Diana taught her about high society, not to change her, but to prepare her. Staff treated her with respect. Marcus's extended family welcomed her warmly. One afternoon, Marcus's cousin Jessica, who shared a name with the other Jessica but was completely different, pulled Elena aside. "I just want you to know," Jessica said, "we're all really happy Marcus found you. We were worried about him after Uncle James died, but you brought light back into his life." "Thank you," Elena said, touched. "Everyone has been so welcoming." "That's because you're real," Jessica replied. "In our world, that's rare and valuable." As the wedding day approached, Elena found herself healing. The nightmares about being locked in that room became less frequent. Her confidence grew. She started smiling more easily, laughing more freely. She was becoming herself again. Or perhaps, for the first time, she was becoming who she was always meant to be. The morning of the wedding arrived with perfect California sunshine. The Chin estate had been transformed into something magical. White flowers everywhere, silk draping, strings of lights that would glow as evening fell. Elena stood in her dressing room, looking at herself in the mirror. The wedding dress was elegant but simple, exactly what she'd wanted. Lace sleeves, a flowing skirt, and a train that made her feel like she was floating. Diana entered, her eyes immediately filling with tears. "Oh, Elena, you look absolutely stunning." "Diana, thank you for everything. I don't know how I'll ever..." Diana hugged her gently, careful not to wrinkle the dress. "You've given my son something I thought he'd never find. Pure, honest love. That's thanks enough." A makeup artist put finishing touches on Elena's face, while Diana's sister helped with the veil. Music drifted up from outside where guests were gathering. "Are you nervous?" Diana asked. "Terrified," Elena admitted with a laugh. "But the good kind of terrified." "That's exactly right," Diana said. "Now, there's someone here to see you. Just for a moment." Marcus appeared in the doorway, and the room cleared to give them privacy. "You're not supposed to see me before the wedding," Elena said, smiling. "I know, but I couldn't wait." Marcus walked closer. "Elena, you look..." "I don't have words." "You look pretty amazing yourself," Elena replied. Marcus wore a classic tuxedo that fit him perfectly. "I just wanted to tell you something before all the craziness begins," Marcus said, taking her hand. "No matter what happens today, no matter what anyone says or does, remember this. I choose you. I will always choose you. You're my family now." Elena felt tears forming and blinked them back. "Don't make me cry. It took forever to do this makeup." Marcus laughed and kissed her forehead gently. "See you at the altar." After he left, Elena took a deep breath. This was really happening. Downstairs, the ceremony space was filling up. Board members, business associates, extended family, and friends from the community all gathered. The Chen family had influence, so this was a significant social event. Among the guests, in a back row, sat Victor Martinez with Patricia, Sophia, and Isabella. They debated whether to come, but Victor had insisted. "We need to show face," he'd said. "We need to act like we support this, or we'll look even worse." The truth was, they were drowning. The legal battles over Elena's inheritance were going poorly. Several of Victor's business contacts had severed ties. The family's reputation in Riverside was shattered. Sophia sat rigid in her chair, watching other young women admire the decorations. "That should be me up there," she muttered. "Shut up," Patricia hissed. "People are watching." As the ceremony began, a string quartet played. Marcus took his position at the altar with his best man. The officiant, a family friend, stood ready. Then the music changed, and Elena appeared. A collective gasp went through the crowd. She walked down the aisle alone, having chosen not to have anyone give her away. She wasn't property to be transferred. She was choosing this herself, freely. Marcus watched her approach, his eyes shining. Elena had never felt more beautiful, more seen, more loved. When she reached the altar, Marcus took her hands. "You made it," he whispered. "Did you doubt me?" she whispered back with a smile. The ceremony was simple but meaningful. They'd written their own vows. Marcus spoke first. "Elena, before I met you, I was going through the motions of life. I had success, wealth, everything people said I should want. But I was empty. Then I saw you by that lake, helping a stranger, and something in me recognized something in you. You taught me what real kindness looks like, what real strength looks like. You make me want to be better every single day. I promise to protect you, support you, and love you for the rest of my life." Elena's turn came, her voice steady despite her emotions. "Marcus, I spent years thinking I wasn't worthy of love, that my value came from how useful I was to others. You showed me that I matter, just me exactly as I am. You saw me when I was invisible to everyone else. You gave me hope when I had none left. I promise to stand beside you, support your dreams, and remind you every day that you're more than your name or your fortune. You're the man I love, and I'm honored to be your wife." There wasn't a dry eye in the audience. The officiant pronounced them married, and Marcus kissed Elena as everyone applauded. As they walked back down the aisle together, hand in hand, Elena looked out at the crowd. Her eyes landed briefly on the Martinez family. Victor looked away, ashamed. Patricia dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, though Elena couldn't tell if it was genuine emotion or for show. Sophia and Isabella stared with barely concealed jealousy. But Elena felt only pity. She'd escaped their prison. They were still trapped in their own. The reception was joyful. Dancing, toasts, laughter filling the evening air. Marcus and Elena's first dance was to a song about new beginnings. "How does it feel?" Marcus asked as they swayed together. "To be Mrs. Chun?" "Surreal," Elena admitted. "But perfect, absolutely perfect." Diana gave a toast that had everyone laughing and crying. "I knew my son would find someone special. I just didn't know she'd be this special. Welcome to our family, Elena. You were worth waiting for." As the evening continued, Elena found herself surrounded by well-wishers. People who'd known the Chun family for years expressed genuine happiness. Several shared that they'd heard her story and were inspired by her grace. "You could have been bitter," one woman said. "Most people would be, but you're still kind. That's remarkable." Late in the evening, as things were winding down, a commotion arose near the entrance. Security was preventing someone from entering. Marcus and Elena walked over to see what was happening. It was Victor Martinez, looking disheveled and desperate. "Please," Victor said to the security guard. "I just need 1 minute. 1 minute to speak to Elena." Marcus stepped forward protectively. "You need to leave. Please, Marcus." "Elena, Victor's voice broke. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything." Elena studied her uncle's face. This wasn't the proud, manipulative man from before. This was someone broken. "Let him speak," Elena said quietly to Marcus. Marcus frowned but nodded to security. Victor stepped forward, keeping his distance. "Elena, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I took everything from you. Your father's business, your childhood, your dignity. I justified it by telling myself I was giving you a home, but the truth is—" He paused, struggling. "The truth is I was jealous. Your father was always the better man. Everyone loved him. When he died, I took what was his because I wanted to feel important. And I destroyed an innocent girl's life in the process." Tears ran down his face. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what I did. And I'm ashamed." Elena looked at this man who'd caused her so much pain. She felt Marcus beside her, supportive of whatever she decided. "Uncle Victor," she said calmly, "what you did was wrong. You hurt me deeply. You took advantage of a child who had no one." Victor nodded, unable to speak. "But I forgive you," Elena continued. Victor's head snapped up, shocked. "I forgive you," Elena repeated. "Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. I won't carry hatred. I won't let what you did define me. So yes, I forgive you. But that doesn't mean I'll forget. It doesn't mean there won't be consequences for your actions. It just means I'm free of you. Finally, completely free. Victor fell to his knees, sobbing. Marcus put his arm around Elena. Time for you to leave, Victor. Security escorted Victor away as Elena leaned into Marcus. That was incredibly brave, Marcus said. It needed to happen, Elena replied. Now I can truly start fresh. The wedding ended late into the night. Marcus and Elena left in a car covered in flowers, heading to the airport for their honeymoon in Europe. As they drove away, Elena looked back at the estate one last time, then forward toward their future. She'd survived the darkness. Now she was stepping into the light. 6 months later, Elena stood in the executive suite of Chun Corporation, looking out over the riverside skyline. So much had changed since that wedding day. Marcus had officially taken over as CEO, with Elena by his side, not as a figurehead, but as an active partner. She'd discovered a talent for community outreach and employee relations. Under her guidance, Chun Corporation had launched several initiatives supporting foster children and orphans, programs that gave them job training, scholarships, and mentorship. Helping people who were like me, Elena had told Marcus when proposing the idea, making sure no one else feels invisible. The programs have been wildly successful, earning the company praise and actually improving productivity. Employees appreciated working for a company that cared about more than just profits. Diana entered the office with a smile. Ready for lunch? Elena and Diana had become incredibly close. They met twice a week for lunch dates where they talked about everything, business, family life. Absolutely, Elena said, grabbing her bag. At the restaurant, Diana had news. I spoke with our attorneys this morning. The settlement with Victor has been finalized. After the wedding, Elena and the Chun legal team had pursued the matter of her father's business. Investigations revealed that Victor had indeed taken everything illegally, manipulating documents while Elena was still a minor. What did they decide? Elena asked. Full restitution, Diana said. Plus interest. The amount is substantial, enough to fund your foster programs for years. Elena nodded thoughtfully. I want to use most of it for the charity foundation we discussed. Keep enough for security, but the rest goes to helping others. Diana squeezed her hand. Your father would be so proud of you. I hope so, Elena said softly. I think about him often. How hard he worked, how much he sacrificed. This feels like honoring his memory properly. After lunch, Elena drove through Riverside, making her way to a familiar neighborhood. She parked outside the Martinez house. It looked different now, smaller somehow, less imposing. A for sale sign stood in the front yard. Victor had lost his real estate business in the legal fallout. The family had downsized significantly, moving to a modest apartment across town. Elena hadn't seen them since the wedding, but she'd heard updates through mutual acquaintances. Sophia was working as a retail manager, a humbling experience that was reportedly changing her attitude. Isabella had gone back to school, pursuing social work of all things. Patricia and Victor were in counseling, trying to rebuild their marriage and address the toxic patterns that had destroyed their family. Elena didn't wish them ill. She hoped they'd find redemption, growth, genuine change. But she also knew their journey wasn't her responsibility. She drove to the cemetery next, something she did every few weeks. Her father's grave was well-maintained now, with fresh flowers. Hi, Dad, she said, sitting on the grass beside the headstone. I brought your favorite sunflowers. She told him about her life, about Marcus, about the charity work. I found someone who sees me the way you always did. Someone who believes I'm valuable. You like him, Dad? He's good. Really, genuinely good. A warm breeze blew through the cemetery, rustling the leaves. I'm happy, Elena said. Finally, completely happy. I hope you can see that, wherever you are. That evening, Marcus came home early from the office. He found Elena in a library she'd created, one of the estate's rooms now filled with the books she loved. Guess what? He said with a mysterious smile. What? The board approved your proposal for the youth center. Construction starts next month. Elena jumped up excitedly. The youth center had been her dream, a place where underprivileged kids could get tutoring, art classes, job training, and mentorship. A place where they'd be seen, valued, and supported. Marcus, really? Really? They were impressed with your presentation. Several board members even increased their personal donations. Elena hugged him tightly. I can't believe this is my life now. Believe it, Marcus said. You've earned every bit of it. They had dinner together on the terrace, watching the sunset. I got a letter today, Elena said. From Jessica. Not your cousin. The other Jessica. The Martinez daughter. Marcus looked surprised. What did it say? She apologized. Said watching me forgive her father made her realize she needed to change. She's been volunteering at a women's shelter, working with abuse survivors. She wanted me to know she's trying to be better. How do you feel about that? Elena thought carefully. Hopeful. People can change if they choose to. Not everyone will, but some do. And that's worth acknowledging. You're remarkable, Marcus said. Most people who went through what you did would be angry, bitter, closed off. But you're open, forgiving, hopeful. How? Elena smiled. Because I learned something important. Pain can either make you hard or it can make you kind. Suffering can either trap you in the past or it can teach you empathy for others who hurt. I chose kindness. I chose empathy. I chose to let my pain have purpose. Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. I love you. I love you too. Later that night, as they got ready for bed, Elena stood in front of the mirror brushing her hair. Something simple, but meaningful. She remembered years of being too exhausted to care for herself properly, of feeling like she didn't deserve nice things. Now she had everything, not because of Marcus's wealth, but because she'd finally learned her own worth. Marcus appeared behind her in the mirror. Penny, for your thoughts? Just thinking about how far I've come. From that locked room to this. She gestured around the beautiful bedroom, but she meant more than the physical space. She meant the life, the love, the freedom. You did that, Marcus said. Yes, I helped. My mother helped. But Elena, you did the work. You chose to keep your heart soft. You chose to believe you deserve better. You chose to take the chance when I offered it. We did it together, Elena said. Together, Marcus agreed. The next morning, Elena visited the first site for her foster youth program. 20 teenagers were gathered, all from difficult backgrounds, all cautious but hopeful. Elena stood before them and shared her story. Not all the details, but enough. She told them about loss, about abuse, about feeling invisible. She told them about choosing kindness even when it seemed impossible. She told them about hope. I'm not saying it's easy, Elena said. I'm not saying you won't have hard days. But I am saying that your past doesn't define your future. Your circumstances don't determine your worth. You are valuable, every single one of you, exactly as you are right now. One girl in the back raised her hand, tears on her cheeks. Did you ever stop being angry? Elena smiled gently. Yes, but it took time, and that's okay. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll feel broken again. The key is to keep moving forward, even if it's just tiny steps. After the session, several kids came up to thank her. One boy said, "You give me hope that things can get better." They can, Elena promised. They will. Just don't give up. That evening, at the Chin estate, the family gathered for dinner. Marcus, Elena, Diana, and several extended family members. The conversation was lively, full of laughter and love. Diana tapped her glass for attention. I want to make a toast. To Elena, who came into our lives and brought light we didn't even know we were missing. You've transformed this family, this company, and this community. We are blessed to have you. Everyone raised their glasses. To Elena, Elena felt tears of joy. This was family, real family, built on love, not obligation, on choice, not circumstance. As the evening ended and guests departed, Marcus and Elena stood on the balcony under the stars. Do you ever think about what your life would be like if we hadn't met? Marcus asked. Elena considered this. Sometimes, but I try not to dwell on it. I believe everything happened exactly as it was meant to. The pain, the struggle, it all led me here, made me who I am. I'm grateful for that, Marcus said, even though I hate that you suffered. The suffering had purpose, Elena said. It taught me compassion. It taught me strength. It taught me that kindness isn't weakness. It's the most powerful force in the world. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the city lights below. Marcus, yes. Thank you for seeing me. When I was invisible to everyone else, you saw me. You chose me. You believed in me. Marcus pulled her close. No, Elena. Thank you for letting me see you. For trusting me with your story. For choosing me back. In the distance, church bells chimed midnight. A new day was beginning. And Elena Martinez Chun, once forgotten and invisible, now stood in the light, loved, valued, and free. Her story had started in darkness, but it ended in light. And that made all the difference. The end. And that's the end of Elena and Marcus's beautiful journey. From invisible to invaluable, from suffering to success, from forgotten to beloved. Did this story touch your heart? Smash that like button. Subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one. And please, drop a comment below telling me, what lesson from Elena's story will you carry with you? What moment made you cry? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message of hope. Thank you so much for watching.